There we go. Now it's live. What's up, everybody? It is time for NBA Live Before Lock. We've got the dynamic duo, myself, Eric, back together, breaking down tonight's NBA slate. We got a two-gamer today, which is twice as many games we had last night. So do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got a special offer for you guys, which I'm going to bring up in a few minutes here. But yeah, we got two games today and some ones that I'm really interested in for a variety of reasons. But we have Cleveland, Indiana. Indiana, they're up 2-0 in the series because Cleveland, epic collapse last game to a degree that does up 7 with the ball with 40-something seconds left. Don't end up winning the game. That was insane. Then you've also got Denver and OKC. That series is tied up at 1. Denver, they had the crazy win with Aaron Gordon hitting a buzzer beater in game 1 of that series. OKC absolutely kicked their ass on Wednesday to knot the series at 1. So both these games, we now got Cleveland. This game was a pick'em a few days ago. Not anymore. Cleveland now favored by 5, seeing lots of big money bets come in on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that has made that line go from about a pick'em to Cleveland now being favored by 5. Obviously, we're going to have to talk about some of the injury implications there officially. Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, all questionable to play. That's going to be a big talking point as we lead up to the start of that game. But do us a big favor here, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Eric, how are you doing? Any plans for the weekend?
He plans for the weekend. Yeah, I got a wedding to go to tomorrow. I have 4 weddings in the next 6 weeks. It's going to be absolutely insane. Fortunately, most of those are here, so it's nifty. But yeah, it's one of my wife's best friends. And then in 2 weeks, I have one of my best friends. And then in 3 weeks, it's one of her best friends. And then in 6 weeks, it's like one of our mutual friends. So it's just like an absolute absurd run of things. I forget that it's like almost summer because like, for us, you don't have like the seasonality. I spend all my time in my little shack in the back house, and I'm immune to anything that changes in terms of weather. I really like Southern California, you're playing golf all the time anyway. Arizona, you're playing golf all the time anyway. So anywhere I spend time, it's just like I live in a, like the opposite of a snow globe. It's just like an eternal sunshine thing, like 360 days of sunshine. So I don't really feel too much there, but yeah, lots of weddings. You would absolutely hate this time of year in my family.
Yeah, that's like I don't even know 4 people to go to weddings for. Like who do I like? My parents are already married. Like what are like
yeah, what else do you need to do? Yeah, fuck people.
Yeah, like who am I? My brother's married. I still have my other brother and my sister, but they're not getting married anytime soon. So like I don't even know. My friends that I grew up with are all so far away from getting married, and like even just the idea of being in relationships, like my friend group, like we will make fun of and demean each other for it. So it's like it's so far away a part of my life. Like every once in a while I have a wedding to go to, but not very, very frequently. By the way, Malukar left a super chat. He said, "Happy birthday, Sotex." So I didn't know it was Sotex's birthday. Sotex, happy birthday to you. Sotex, I've mentioned this before, but I've known Sotex for almost 10 years now. Almost 10 years he's been consuming my content since back in the days at Basketball Monster. So a full decade of me hanging out with Sotex. Happy birthday to him. Any birthday plans for you, Sotex? I'd be interested to maybe going to a wedding with Eric. Maybe that's what you got planned for your birthday. But if you got anything cool going on, let us know in the chat and I'll let you guys know about it. But let's start here, Eric, by talking about this injury situation. Cleveland officially has Mobley, Garland, Hunter, all questionable to play. We did hear earlier from Shams that Darius Garland is expected to play, which makes me feel pretty good that he's going to be playing for today. Mm-hmm. But what do you make of all these guys? Mobley, Garland, Hunter, them being questionable. What's your stand here?
My stand is that I think everybody plays. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty convinced that Darius Garland plays. I'm pretty convinced that Evan Mobley plays as well. And I'm not sure about DeAndre Hunter, but he's obviously the least important of the 3 that I just listed off. Evan Mobley is, I'm just like thinking about this slate just in terms of value and like just talked about Hunter where like these are the kind of things, they're identical 4,400 tags, but like Evan Mobley is the kind of guy that if you get him low owned on a slate like this, it just looks like an absolute slam. Like a lot of our ideal value that we're going to be running into, we got Jokic, who's the most popular play on the slate because of it being Jokic in Denver. We have Jamal Murray at guard. We have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at guard. We have Russell Westbrook at guard. We have Christian Brown you can play at guard. Like the first power forward's Aaron Gordon, but like I just kind of look at at Mobley specifically, and I just kind of look at the positionality because it's only a 4-game slate and we're trying to like mix and match our lineups. And I'm playing 150 mini max, playing a couple of other bigger lineups and playing single entry. So I've got a lot of NBA going tonight. And I'm just kind of thinking about like the construction of my lineups and what they look like. We have Mobley projected for 31 minutes and he already looks all right. Like there is a right tail on him and Garland that nobody else has on this entire slate relative to like what we are projecting, the industry's projecting. I just think they're just such smashes in tournaments because nobody feels comfortable clicking it. Like nobody should feel comfortable clicking it. I don't feel comfortable clicking it, but the upside and the urgency that exists on the Cleveland side down 0-2 is so immense that you got to feel pretty good about this being a spot where like Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and Darius Garland play as many minutes as you can. And the fifth guy just, it's not irrelevant, but like it definitely falls off a cliff from there, Greg.
Yeah, I want to get more information here as well. Like obviously whether they're in or out is really important, but also if they're going to have any kind of minutes restrictions. I will say one thing that gives me a little bit of pause here is that if these guys are somewhat iffy, they're going to be playing, just considering the circumstance. It's going to give it a go, see how they end up feeling, and kind of take it from there. I do have a little bit of concern is if these guys are in, how healthy are they going to be? Are they going to be limited? Is their production going to be reduced in any kind of way as a result of that? Darius Garland hasn't played a game since April 23rd. So we're looking at 2-week and 2-day absence for him since he last played, which I actually do think he's probably pretty close to 100%, just because what it is that we heard from the Cleveland Cavaliers when he first got hurt was that it was probably going to be a 1 to 2 week injury. And now we're at the end of that 2 weeks. So I actually do feel pretty good that Garland is going to be at close to 100% here. And then as far as Evan Mobley goes, when he first got hurt, he was able to finish the game 1 against the Pacers. In hindsight, he probably shouldn't have finished the game because he looked as bad as I've ever seen him look, to the point where I had tweeted out like, boy, this was a bad time for Evan Mobley to get the Defensive Player of the Year award just because he played so poorly, but we didn't know how hurt he was really at the, like he was limping, but I don't think we knew that that meant that he was going to potentially be missing the next game. So for all of these guys, I do think they're all going to play. I do have some reservations about whether it's going to be totally full minutes and 100%, or if they're going to be limited at all, or just limited, even if not minute-wise, just limited by their health. But I do think they'll all be out there.
I do too. I think they're going to all be out there. Obviously, the two who matter most are that of Mobley and Garland. And the guys I'm going to be probably invested in the most, Mobley and Garland, even though we've got Hunter already pulling some ownership, nearly 0.25% of lineups. Him and Michael Porter Jr., it's kind of an interesting 1v1 question just because they're both the identical tags on DK. And Michael Porter Jr.'s had health concerns himself. Like, we've watched his shoulder be okay and his shoulder not be okay in separate times of these games. And, you know, how many times do you ever see Michael Porter Jr. at 4,400? And I mean, maybe 2 years ago when he had complete defensive liabilities, but Michael Malone isn't even there anymore. And it's just hard to imagine a scenario where Michael Porter Jr. with his health shouldn't be where he's at 4,400. But like him and Hunter, I think it's a nice push-pull scenario. Obviously, you can play both in lineups too, but just because they're at the identical tags, I think it's an interesting talking point.
Yeah, and we'll get more information as we go here. People in chat are asking when we're going to get the update, which don't really know exactly. It's out of our hands. My best guess is 20 minutes or so. Mostly because here's the same reason that we saw some of these guys get ruled out late in some of these games. There's such high leverage spots where I think they want to make sure there's no stone left unturned, make sure these guys are warming up, feeling good. There's no kinds of issues or anything like that. Or even if maybe they were leaning towards not playing, I think they would still warm up and just be like, hey, let me be sure that I can't actually play. I think we saw that at least to some extent with Garland in a couple of games, where I think he was probably getting treatment in the back and they were seeing if he was at all possibly capable of playing, which wasn't in some of these spots. That's why we ended up getting that news a little bit later. So my best guess is we're probably going to get that news in like 20, 30 minutes or so.
Agreed. Nothing to add. I mean, it's just news that we're going to have to be paying attention to. I just ran another sim here as well, just kind of with different scenarios in mind, have an idea of where ownership's going to land, but we'll get the update and I'll be able to kind of just refresh back to whatever our projections are. But I mean, the push and pull of this slate is like Mobley is at power forward, whereas Garland is at guard. And I think I'd rather bet Garland and hope that minutes kind of go your direction and maybe get away from, Jerome in the betting market, something that you astutely pointed out over on X at G Ehrenberg DFS. But like, you definitely want to be somehow like aware of like what those minutes are going to be. I have a tough time figuring out exactly, but like the positionality of Mobley is so interesting on this slate that he's obviously the guy that I'm the most interested in.
Are you just talking about the Cavs specific guys or like all of the injured players?
Just the Cavs specific guys. And then like, I think just the slate in general, based on ownership, where all the popular players are at guard. And then you have Jokic at center, who's just like on an island and tier of his own.
Yeah, the issue I have with a lot of the Cleveland guys, and this is the team I have the least exposure to by a lot, is they're all priced for other guys to be out other than Garland. So going back to the
I'm not even like a big Ty Jerome guy for this game whatsoever. I'm probably going to end up being under, but he's probably going to be the guy that I get the most of other than Mobley, just because of the positionality. Like Allen, I don't want to get to Allen at this price relative to like where the field's at. 14%, 15%. I'm probably going to be under that. Probably going to be under on Mitchell, or not Mitchell. I'll definitely be like around on Mitchell. I'm going to definitely be under to Strus in the event that you get Garland out there, that you get a Hunter out there. Hunter is the guy pulling the most ownership on the team, which is just wild because he's the one I have the most health concerns about between the three.
It's a wrist injury, so I don't think it's anything that would like limit his playing time or anything like that. The one thing about DeAndre Hunter though is he's still priced really cheaply. Donovan Mitchell's $9,500. Donovan Mitchell's never $9,500. Donovan Mitchell was like $8K for most of the regular season, so he's priced as if Mobley, Garland, and Hunter are all out. So like he's priced up. Evan Mobley also, he was priced around $7K for most of the season. He's priced as if Darius Garland would be out, and he sees the biggest benefit on the entire team when Garland doesn't play. That's why we've seen a salary increase for him. Jared Allen, it's not too much of a price increase, but it is slightly. Once again, he's priced for Evan Mobley to be out. Darius Garland, he's kind of priced normally. Ty Jerome is priced for Darius Garland to be out. So it is really hard for me to click on the Cleveland guys just because relative to their prices, I think this is the least appealing team on the entire slate. I hardly have any exposure to this team as of now.
Agreed.
Let's see if we have any questions in YouTube. Nope, just the Sotex's birthday deal. We've got Captain Akella is saying to us, can you play? Okay, he says he can only play single entry today. Who is one guy that we think he cannot go without in his single entry lineup?
You're not playing today without Jokic in single entry.
He's definitely my favorite pay up option.
He's center only, and you're comparing him to like a over-owned Turner and Allen, where Mobley could be back. Like, I'm not playing this slate without Jokic in single entry.
Jokic is a strong one. Trying to think who else. Like most of my most rostered guys are from Denver. This is the team that looks the best to me. It's just such a thin rotation. They're forced to play all their core guys, other than Westbrook as he comes off the bench. But like Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Christian Brown, like these guys are all going to play like 40 plus minutes. And they're just kind of priced kind of modestly. And then Christian Brown doesn't have a ton of ownership going to him. Jokic and Murray do, but it both makes sense. Let's see if I had to. I agree with you. I think the answer is Jokic. I'm just trying to see if there's another answer that I would throw out there to add to the mix.
I mean, probably second guy in for me is probably Chet Holmgren, but sorry, I'm just looking at my FanDuel lineup right now.
I'll say Christian Brown, shooting guard, small forward eligibility, $5,200.
That's good.
35% owned, so he's got some ownership going there, but I've got him in about half my lineups. Just you get a guy who's a decent fantasy producer that's probably playing 40 to 44 minutes today. That's somebody who's underpriced on a slate that we have a lot of guys we like to pay up for, and it is kind of hard to find value.
What's the push and pull between Westbrook and Michael Porter Jr. for you? Because like I haven't set rules in quite some time. Like I'll kind of skew my lineups or I'll favorite certain lineups here and there. I'm just curious, like Russell Westbrook's really, really popular on today's slate. If I'm playing single entry and I have the ability to like figure exactly what's going on, I mean, we'll get the news as well, but like Michael Porter Jr. and Russell Westbrook are both positively leveraged for us right now. I'd want to play one of the two, but I'm just curious if you had a pull because like I don't want to play both in the same lineup a majority of the time.
On a 2-game slate, I don't really care about it too much.
Okay. I care a little bit if I'm building one lineup just because they're not going to close together. Like there's just no way they close together.
At their price points, I don't think they have to. Michael Porter Jr. is $4,400.
It's very true. I keep staring at it and I'm like, Sims, please just give me Michael Porter Jr., give me like at the field and I can move on with my life. I would like that very much.
Yeah. I like Michael Porter Jr. as a contrarian play. He's $4,400. I mean, he's priced like for instance, he's priced cheaper than Alex Caruso.
I know. It's pretty wild. But Michael Porter Jr. also isn't that contrarian. He's 29% owned. It's just, I mean, that's the crazy thing about this slate is we're really playing the ownership game more than normal. Like we already are playing an ownership game because it's ownership and projection, but like we're guessing. It's like pin the tail on the donkey for minutes for DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Michael Porter Jr. because all four of them have major health concerns and like it's going to affect their minutes. There's going to be one guy who plays way more than we expect out of those four. There's going to probably be one who plays way less. And that's just assuming that all the Cleveland guys are in.
We've got Malukar in the chat had brought up what happened to Alex Caruso last game. So I think that Alex Caruso is one of the better bounce back candidates we have today. Everybody played a ton of Caruso last game, like an insane amount. Nothing changed. Last game was a blowout and he played less minutes.
Yep.
And the game before, it was a competitive game. So he played more minutes. When you consider the situation, he comes off the bench, right? So game starts, OKC's playing well, so they just stick with their starting unit. Then by the time Caruso finally checks in, he gets his minutes, gets his first half rotation. Then the second half comes along, he gets 1 second half rotation, the game's a blowout. So he checks out and never comes back in. Mm-hmm. You know, his minutes weren't crazy high throughout the regular season. So it doesn't mean he has to play big minutes or anything like that. But I don't really think there's anything different about Alex Caruso this slate versus last slate. But last slate, he was like 70% owned. He has a bad game and then people don't want to play him anymore. We see this all the time throughout the playoffs. And I brought it up on a bunch of shows. This happens constantly. We see somebody has a good game. They're crazy popular next game. Somebody has a bad game. Nobody wants to play them anymore. And it's not to say that nobody, like Caruso is still 20% owned. So it's not like he's like 5% or anything like that. But it's pretty wild for somebody to be more or less the same price. Everything else be the same. But just because one game he played well, one game he played bad, he goes from being 70% owned to 20% owned with nothing else really changing.
Yeah, I played very little Alex Caruso last slate, and, you know, it still didn't work out for me because of other reasons, but I played a lot of Aaron Wiggins. I basically just kind of like carbon copied what DK DFS, our buddy Danny, was putting into his tails, and it felt really, really sharp on his part. He ended up hitting like a plus 7,500 parlay, doing a lot of like the sharp kid things that you ended up posting as well with Cleveland unders. He basically just took Aaron Wiggins to the moon, and Aaron Wiggins scored like 10 points. He didn't even play all that much, and I don't think he hit like any of his alt lines by any means. But if you had Aaron Wiggins whatsoever as somebody that you were just getting his leverage, like you were just playing the blowout narrative. And I feel far more comfortable with Indy and Denver both being at home for these games. You know, that I do think Cleveland and OKC are the rightful favorites in these spots now, but like, I don't think we're going to play as many blowout narratives as this. And I'm with you. I think Alex Caruso, one of the best bounce back candidates. Let's just take his, you know, oh no, he's $600 more. Who gives a shit? If he puts up 40 plus like he did in game one, you would take that in an instant in 100% of lineups. And now he goes from 65%, where I think he was in the $20 last time around, to being around 20%. And the only thing that'll change is that they play a competitive game where they want Alex Caruso on the floor, rather than last game where it's like, let's not have Alex Caruso accidentally run into somebody, because in terms of on-ball defense, he's the best in the league. Like, he is the best on-ball defender that you can go and pick up for your basketball team, hand-selected. He fit a need for OKC so that they can do all of this crazy on-ball defense with Jalen Williams, with Lou Dort. They can have different lineup constructions. He shot the ball like absurdly decently from three for Alex Caruso. I feel pretty confident in jamming at least 40% Alex Caruso today.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is going to be, but he's somebody who stands out to me as being under-owned for the slate. Like, I would be curious from people if you played a bunch of Alex Caruso last game and you're not playing him today, is it for any reason other than that he didn't have a good fantasy score last game? Because I kind of think that's the whole reason. I think the reason that people played a lot of him last game, which by the way, I don't even think was unjustified, just you would think he's going to play a massive role throughout the playoffs considering his role in game one, but then it was just a bad game script for him. It was a blowout. In games that are blowouts, bench guys who are normal rotation guys, they just don't end up playing it. So we saw this Steven Adams as well in some of those Rockets Warriors games that are blowouts where he's not starting, so he doesn't play a ton in the first quarter. He gets his end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter stint, gets another second quarter stint. You get the third quarter stint, but then there's a blowout. You just don't play in the fourth quarter, and you lose a big chunk of your playing time. So good bounce back spot for Caruso. I have him for over 12.5 PRA today as well. I think it's a pretty reasonable number, and hopefully he plays decently and makes some shots for it today. Let's see what ends up happening with some of the Cleveland updates. I'm looking on Twitter to see if I could find anything. And okay, yeah. So it looks like, yeah, just looking at so Joe Varden, who's a writer for The Athletic, covers the Cleveland Cavaliers. He says that Mobley, Garland, and Hunter are all on the floor during their normal warmups. I think it's a pretty good indication they're all in.
Yep, agreed.
So as far as restrictions, I don't think we're going to hear anything. It's just going to be, how are these guys playing? How do they feel when they're out on the court? And then we'll see what ends up happening from there. What do you make of this? Now that we not know for sure, but presumably know that all three of these guys are going to be playing, what does this do to the Cleveland Cavaliers? I know we were kind of already expecting this, though.
Yeah, we were expecting it. We have it projected with everybody in because, you wouldn't want to rip them off here. They were all questionable. But I kind of, after this morning and kind of through the tea leaves yesterday, it felt like they were all going to play. And I think this is going to be the most unappealing team, period. But I do think there's a world where I play a lot of Evan Mobley just because that ownership stays sub 15%. He's the guy that I think has the positionality and the price tag at 8K relative to like Donovan Mitchell at 9,500. I mean, Evan Mobley, they want to have out on the floor as many minutes as humanly possible. And as you said in game one, he looked awful. He was terrible. He couldn't move like at all, coming right off of Defensive Player of the Year. It was really brutal to watch, but he's a good fantasy producer. He's figured out how to shoot threes in the Kenny Atkinson offense where, hey, let's get up threes and look more like Boston. Although we could have that conversation tomorrow, I suppose, with Boston playing the early game. Can't believe they're playing at 12:30. I know Chuck went off about that, Charles Barkley, but just what a weird start time to have basketball on at 9:30 in the morning on the West Coast. Like the most important, biggest game you could imagine. But I'm with Evan Mobley here. I think he's interesting. Hunter has value, interest, but Max Strus, man, I expect his ownership to come down a little bit, but maybe not. And he will definitely be a hard fade for me just because he's going to be very shooting dependent. And anytime somebody's very shooting dependent in the postseason, 5K, like his rebounding's okay. I mean, he's sitting with like a 4.5 rebound prop, I suppose. So I don't want to go crazy. He had some decent assist games, but with Garland and Mitchell on the floor, that goes way down for him. I think those are kind of the main things. Anything stand out to you as far as what you want to do?
Just kind of looking through Twitter, looking for some videos of guys warming up. For what it's worth, Tyler Smith, he covers the Pacers. He wrote that Garland seems to be favoring his toe quite a bit during the warm-up. And then he also says that Atkinson had said that he did movement shooting today, but apparently hasn't been doing running. So as far like it looks like Garland is going to be out there, but I assume he is not really all that close to 100% now, just kind of based on that and how he looks in warmups. I would like to see some video of Evan Mobley moving on his ankle just because he was moving gingerly the other day. But overall, I think this Cleveland team, still just going back to what we said before, I don't think Cleveland's going to be all that interesting to roster relative to the other teams on the slate.
Somebody might be somebody with low minutes projection who plays a lot more than expected, Greg, and that would be Mobley. Just throwing it out there. But anyway, that's just a hypothesis and looking at it that way. Also, it is starting at 12:30 my time. It is 3:30 Eastern time. Also, why the hell are they playing a Knicks game at 3:30 Eastern time? That's just stupid for the playoffs. That's stupid. Give them a primetime event. It's the biggest game the Knicks have played in forever, ever. Like, what are we doing?
Is there even a primetime on Saturday?
Pull it up here for tomorrow. Obviously, this matters to you a lot. Not really. 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, I guess. Yeah, there is a prime time. Minnesota Golden State at 8:30.
No. I mean, what like for TV viewing, what is prime time? Like when are people around at their TVs on Saturday?
After 5 o'clock for sure, my time. So like 8 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Let me see something.
There's also UFC, which is going to be amazing. Montreal.
So like there's a clear prime time for like weekdays and Sundays. I don't even know what it is for Saturday though.
But normally they have like a 5:30 Pacific time. So yeah, like 8:30 Eastern time game that they'll have on ABC on either Saturday or Sunday. I think it's normally Sunday, but like I gotta say this, like NFL, that would be like the NFL prime time. Like Saturday when they do Saturday games, it's like right around that.
So for what it's worth, just because I did like a quick search online, the most viewed time slot for a Saturday is 3 p.m. Eastern time.
It's absurd. Evan Mobley
will go at it next. That's just when, by the way, Evan Mobley will play. I assume we're about to get a post from Shams that DeAndre Hunter will play. Darius Garland will play. I'm sure we're going to get all of them. Sure, we're going to get all of them right now. Yep, here it is. All three injured Cleveland Cavaliers, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter, will return tonight against the Indiana Pacers in Game 3, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. ESPN sources tell ESPN. All right, there we go. So now we've got it official. All three of them are in. There's probably going to be some sort of projections update that'll come in the near future here, just as some like lines and stuff get updated by the books and there's some movement. So while we're waiting for that, I want to let you guys know about a deal that we have going on here right now, which is big UFC event tomorrow, UFC 315. We have got Bilal Muhammad taking on JDM in the main event tomorrow for the welterweight title. Last I looked, there are tickets available, but guess what? This won't be good for a ticket, but to watch the event, but you get to sweat along, build some DFS lineups, sign up for any of our, well, not any, but just take advantage of it could be good for any, do it for the max package. That's going to be the best bang for your buck. $1 with the promo code 315. Sign up for our MMA Core Max weekly package. Once again, good for the weekly package, not monthly. So make sure you're checking out with the weekly package. Get access to our MMA projections, our Sims, our contest generator, our ownership, our boom bust tool for MMA, all for just $1 for tomorrow's card with the promo code 315. There are massive prize pools in the DraftKings lobby. MMA pretty regularly has bigger prize pools than NBA at this point. I think the DraftKings contest like a $600,000 prize pool tomorrow. I can't remember the last time I saw an NBA contest that had a $600,000 prize pool. So take advantage of this. Even if you're just going to build a lineup or two, it's well worth the while for you. Just $1, promo code 315. There's a link down below in the YouTube description box to sign up for any of the packages here at Stokastic, or you just head on right over to the site and sign up. Promo code 315. Are you going to be watching any of the UFC tomorrow or anything, Eric?
I already got some bets in. I'm ready to rock. I think Jessica Andrade plus 260 is looking pretty interesting to me. Again, there's a couple of women's MMA fights. It's funny to have Grasso and Shevchenko on the same card where they're not fighting each other, considering we've seen 3 iterations in the last year and a half of that shit. But two fights before it, and then Shevchenko has the belt. She'll be going up against Fiore. So that'll be a fun one to watch. Not a whole lot else to add. I guess if you're French, does she have home court advantage, I suppose, being in Montreal? Is that a thing? Do they care that much?
I wouldn't call it home court advantage.
Home country advantage? Because she's French, but I know they speak French in Canada, but do they actually care? Is that still are they going to cheer for her over Shevchenko? That's what I'm getting at. Also, just thinking of whenever they go to Saudi Arabia and it's oh, well, he's the dog, but also he's from such and such, and he's probably going to get all of the judging.
Well, I know in Quebec that is more of a French-speaking area, but other than that, anything I say about who they would be rooting for or whether they care about French people would be total bullshit. I have no clue. I have no clue whether they're more apt to root for French people because they speak the same language.
I don't care about even necessarily the crowd. I care about the judges. The judges are what I care about, which is an unfortunate part about this whole thing, but is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same judges everywhere. Like the same judges that judge the contest in Vegas go to Canada as well. It's the same ones who go to Abu Dhabi. It's generally the same judges.
Well, good talk. Glad we had it. I thought it was federations based on where the state was or where the country was.
So that's the that's for like who is actually sanctioning the event. But the judges, it's the same judges. Like Chris Lee, you're gonna hear his name tomorrow. You're gonna hear the same idiots who fuck up a fight in Las Vegas, or the same ones who fuck it up in Abu Dhabi, or the same ones who get it wrong in Florida. It's the same goofballs.
People were just freaking out because they thought lock was at 7 and it's at 7:30. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. We got 30 minutes still, guys.
Still
got 30 minutes to go. 30 minutes. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Mike Verderosa in the chat says Sal D'Amato. Absolutely. Sal is omnipresent. He travels to all of the different places. Deke says multiple DFS sites have Hunter out. Well, they're wrong. He's playing. I don't know what else to say. He's going to be out there though. We got a question from Krebsy. He says, "What do we think about Garland?" So of Garland and Mobley, Garland is more priced in line with where he was at in the regular season. Mobley's like $1,000 more expensive than he was for a lot of the regular season. Based on some of the reports, it seems like Garland looks okay, but not great warming up. That he's still favoring his foot. I don't have that much exposure to Garland or Mobley, at least on my last sim run.
Oh, I think that's going to change for me. I think I'm going to probably get overweight to both purely because of what that upside can be if they somehow walk into more minutes. Because you can't reverse engineer your lineups after the fact and say, oh, well, now we know that Garland can play 38 minutes and was healthy. Oh, now we know Mobley is. Now, does that work out all the time? No, but it's such an easier way of me seeing upside than guys who are already playing 38, 40 minutes. Like what's the minutes upside for, I guess this would be a bad example because he's just like in no man's land salary tier compared to everybody else. But let's go Jamal Murray. Like we know Jamal Murray can play a gobsmack of minutes. We have Mobley and Garland projected for way less. It's already a difficult spot for Jamal Murray. He's already over-owned at 6,800 there. I know it's different price tiers. I know it's different in terms of like everything else, but like I feel much better taking shots on guys who are like 14, 15% owned, being double the field and trying to find ways of like finding upside just in like what that minutes upside can be, rather than just like, oh, we're going to have an outlier shooting performance. Now, that's not to say there isn't a massive downside to these guys, but I think the ownership currently offsets that for me.
Current ownership, we have Garland at just under 10%. We've got Mobley at about 15%. So we've got Mobley pulling some ownership. Garland's fairly contrarian, the 15% on a 2-game slate. It's not like crazy significant. I know for me at least though, I feel better about Mobley's health. I just hate the price point. He's so expensive.
He's very expensive, but also doesn't that make you feel better knowing that there's no way he's getting steamed up and that we have him optimal much lower than his optimal? Like as far as leverage, he's one of the most positively leveraged guys that we have in the boom bust tool in the data hub. We got the starting lineup exactly what you expect from both the Cavs and the Pacers now. Max Strus continuing to start there. Not going to get Hunter in there or anything. We didn't expect that, but I think just playing this one straight up and looking at just the ownership on Mobley at 8K, if he ends up playing more, it's not like anybody, like we don't have him projected for like a crazy amount of minutes. Garland isn't projected for a crazy amount of minutes, but the thing is Garland is at the guard spot. And that alone is just it's just a no-go in terms of like wanting to take that kind of a risk relative to some of the other options. I mean, Jamal Murray being like exactly right there, they just have a chasm of difference in terms of projection. And it would take a lot for Garland to exceed the minutes and have it pan out for you. But like, what else is there to spend at power forward? And I think there's just so many outs I have going to the Mobley side.
If I had to play one, I prefer Garland, once again, just due to what the price points are on the two, but I'm not going to be prioritizing either of them for me personally. Sally Sal in the chat said, is fading Garland a good way to avoid risk? I mean, like, not exactly. Just because on a 2-game slate, there's risk to playing somebody, but there's also risk to not playing somebody. So I like just avoiding somebody because you think they're risky. If they have an upside, that's also kind of, probably you're not just because you don't play him, it doesn't mean that your lineup has no risk all of a sudden, because he could have a good game. And then it's a problem that you don't have him. I'll decide that I'm going to be taking, though. I'm pretty sure. I'll see when I run one more update, but I just don't think I'm going to be playing the Cavs, guys. I'll be getting elsewhere with my exposure.
Oh boy, we're taking different lines with that one. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing Mobley.
Mega Elite 1 says, can we talk about Mathurin as a cheap piece for today? Sure, we can talk about Mathurin and some of the other cheap options on the slate. For his salary at $3,900, there are very few guys who are very cheap that I feel pretty good about them being part of the rotation today, like Michael Porter Jr., Alex Caruso, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell to a lesser extent as well. I feel kind of forced to play some of these guys just because if we want to pay up for Jokic or want to get exposure to SGA, the only way to do it is if you have some cheap guys in your lineups, and there aren't that many viable ones. So I prefer Michael Porter Jr. I prefer Alex Caruso to Benedict Mathurin, but I think he's a reasonable punt option. Of the guys who are sub 4K, he is the one I have the most exposure to. Eric, what do you make of Mathurin, and is there anybody you like more than him for an under 4K price point?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Mathurin. I was pretty early to the party thinking that he was going to play a lot more in this series. Thought he, was obviously hurt, sick, everything. Like it was a really bad run out for him coming into this series. And I thought he was pretty undervalued. The first slate, second slate continues to ascend in terms of ownership, but he just continues to be the best piece of salary relief. I just think the Pacers like having him out there as the main offensive catalyst, even a little bit more than TJ McConnell. I talked to how highly, they talked about TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell played great last series, but he's point guard only, whereas Mathurin, shooting guard, small forward, that really helps out as well. You don't have the Dean Wade piece this slate. You don't have, a bunch of predictability as far as OKC. Like, I don't think Cason Wallace, while he's pulling ownership, Obi Toppin while he's pulling ownership, I think we all know that those minutes are way, way down there relative to some other pieces that we've got. Yeah, I'm with you. I think sub 4K, it's really hard to do better than Benedict Mathurin because he's at least hunting his shot every single time he's out there. Hard for him not to run into a couple.
We did also get that projections update, so I just refreshed that on the screen. Here's where we've got all the Cleveland guys for now. So Donovan Mitchell is now at 47.4 fantasy points. We got Evan Mobley at 38 fantasy points. Jared Allen's at 32 fantasy points. Darius Garland just under 30 fantasy points. We've got Ty Jerome at 23.5 fantasy points. Max Strus at 22.5 fantasy points. DeAndre Hunter just under 20 fantasy points. Sam Merrill 13.2 fantasy points. Anything about that update that stands out to you?
Not necessarily. I mean, Jerome came down a little bit. Strus, Hunter sitting about the same. The Strus one is really uncomfortable. 5K now for a guy 4.5. That's the one that I think, he hasn't really changed. It's the same outlook for all of these guys for the most part. But yeah, I think everything looks as it probably should be. But once again, we have 31 minutes in for Mobley. I'm going to take shots on just hoping that he's got more in the tank there. And again, Garland, if Garland wasn't like in this identical range as like a Murray, some of these other guys that it just appears I'm going to get to more, I'd be inclined to take shots on it. But yeah, I've said it throughout the entire show. I'm not going to change now. The power forward eligibility for Mobley just changes the equation for me a little bit.
We should have an ownership update that either just went up right now or will be up in a second. And yes, it is up right now. So here's what we have for the updated ownerships for the Cleveland guys. We now have Donovan Mitchell 17% owned. We've got Evan Mobley 15% owned. Jared Allen 13.5% owned. Garland's 8% owned. None of this has really changed. Then DeAndre Hunter, Max Strus, they're right around 20%. So I'll rerun the Sims, see what it is they end up getting to here, and that will be the final version of my lineups, and then I will be good to upload them. In the interim, let's see what questions we have from Discord. And also, if you guys haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you do want to try out our betting tools, Portfolio EV, 7-day free trial. It's always available to anybody who's signing up for the first time. Portfolio EV. I've got my thread going on Twitter, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen. That's kind of like a proof of concept for how well the tools work. I started my thread at $100 and just using bet size recommendations from Portfolio EV and then also bet recommendations. That's starting $100 bankroll. It is now a little bit over $1,400. So if you guys would like betting results for yourself, check it out. 7 days totally for free. Link down below in the YouTube description box. As far as questions go, we've got a super chat from Orion. He says that he's playing one FanDuel GPP lineup. Eric, do you prefer Mobley and Mathurin or Siakam and Alex Caruso?
Yeah, I'm pulling up my FanDuel stuff here because I just reran some stuff. I'm playing one lineup over there just so I could be able to talk somewhat intelligently about it. Not that I talk intelligently about anything ever, but such a dick. 5,300 Caruso. I'm going through this. Yeah, thank you. I like for tournaments the Mobley Mathurin side. Mobley is a little bit different over on FanDuel. 8K on FanDuel, a little bit different than 8K on DK. So I'll go to the first side of it. Siakam Caruso, a little bit more popular, and Caruso, I think, was pulling more ownership. Still is over there. 5,300 for him. I'm going to go to the first one. How about you?
I prefer the Siakam Caruso combination. Caruso is somebody who I really, really like for this slate, and we'll go over some of our final exposures, the players that we like the most. But Alex Caruso, let's see, what is his updated ownership now? We've got Caruso in for 23.5% ownership on Alex Caruso. But you know, once again, he was in the same situation last game and he was like 70% owned. Nothing has really changed. I like going back to Alex Caruso today. I'll be overweight to the field on him. So I like him quite a bit as a tournament option. So I'm going to say the Caruso Siakam side for me personally. And for people who are asking, why did Caruso play less minutes last game? Because it was a blowout. Just game flow. It was a like massive blowout. The Thunder were up, like 50 most of that game, something like that.
That is correct.
Yeah, it was not competitive. And I expect both games tonight to be competitive. I assume you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of like when the bigger seeds go on the road. I know it didn't actually end up playing out this way in the first few games of the series, but you know, I don't love some of those games that have double-digit spreads. I think that could definitely get a little bit dicey at times. But, you know, we saw the games be competitive other than that one OKC Denver game. The other ones, you know, the Knicks come from behind wins. One went to overtime. The other one was really competitive with a late win over the Celtics. But, yeah, these games for the next few days, I would expect most of them to be competitive more often than not. Also from Discord, was there another question? Yes. We've got a couple of questions here. JT Mack, favorite captain or ways to get different for Cleveland and Indy? Thanks. I didn't build out showdown lineups for that first game, so I can't really speak to it too much. Did you by chance build out any showdown lineups?
I built out one lineup. Let me pull it up here because I just kind of played what we had as the optimal, and we had everybody in. Let me pull up this because I had a sim that I had ran. Also, it looks like it might not overlay, but it's definitely got a chance to potentially not fill the main $15 iteration over there. I ended up playing Mitchell in the captain. He's the best captain option, just raw fantasy points, him and Halliburton. But I still think it's probably the Mitchell side of things. Pascal Siakam is a nice contrarian option that I thought about as well. But you look at some of the other pieces. I mean, I'm going to be getting away from Strus in that showdown lineup. I talked about that. He's going to be somebody that I'm underweight to in the main here as well. Hunter is sitting down there at 4,400. I think he's a lot better option there. I'm going to be at or below the field based on my first Sims run. We've got 16 minutes. I got plenty of time for that. But I look at Nembhard 6,800, really strong option for the showdown slate here as well. But I think your top captain options, there's no doubt about it. Mitchell, Halliburton. I like Siakam as somebody to try to get a little bit different with it as well. And that kind of covers it. Not much else to say.
Yeah. So I just don't, anything that I say would just kind of, I didn't build lineups for the showdown slate. So don't know who it is that I end up playing there. I'll just, whatever
Bill
Eric
won.
said, I agree with it. I think that's what I
Thank
would end
you.
up looking at there too. Also, you kind of have to take chances on some of the injury situation, guys, because it's a 1-game slate. You kind of have to play all of the guys there, or else you're only playing 6 Pacers, which isn't really allowed. So I'm much more apt to take chances on Garland and Mobley on the 1-game slate. Jansen's is 95%. Michael Porter Jr. too much. Yeah, that's a lot of Michael Porter Jr. Let's see, what do I have of MPJ on my final run? I have 37% of Porter Jr. is my final mark there. So he is 29% owned or thereabouts, I think. What do we have Porter in for? 29% owned. I'm a little bit overweight to field on. 95% feels pretty aggressive on Michael Porter Jr. Would you agree with that?
Spicy meatball. Yep.
All right. I've got the final version of my lineups done, Eric. I think you're working on your lineups as well.
Okay.
So I think it is a good time to give the people what it is that they really want and what Eric loves as well.
Oh, God.
Okay, Eric, here it is. It is your absolute favorite time of the day when you get to give out your favorite NBA DFS tournament play. I know I've got my pick lined up. I kind of feel inclined to have to go in a different direction because for both game 1 and game 2 of the OKC Denver series, I picked Isaiah Hartenstein, who I am quite a bit overweight to the field to, again, because just I haven't seen anything that makes me feel differently about not wanting to be overweight to him after the first couple of games. But I'll pick somebody different this time, even though he kind of is the answer that I'd be gravitating towards looking at my exposures. But Eric, let me know first from you. Who is your nuke of the night?
All right. So we've talked at length about Evan Mobley. I'm going to be overweight, but I'm not going to be like 35% Evan Mobley. So I want to make that clear. I'm going to be nearly double the field on him, but probably going to fall a little bit short. Let's talk getting off the board without being an absolute insane person. And I think Peyton Watson at 3,100 has a lot of utility on this slate. For one, he gets me all of the Jokic I can possibly handle. And two, defensively, he does certain things for Denver that just kind of make sense. They need to have something off the bench, don't they? Like at some point, you got to find something. But the extra out that you get with Peyton Watson, so he's played 15 minutes in the first 2. He has some kind of blowout run that's attached to him as well. But it feels as though he's the only piece under 3,500 that I can even click on. Like as I work through the entire board of everybody, we've got Case and Wallace, I suppose you can click on if you really want to. I'm going to be underweight to that. Okoro, Joe, Toppin's pulling a ton of ownership. And I'll be able to have some of that information where I can kind of mix and match and decide just how much I'm going to get to. But he hasn't popped in the first couple games of this series yet, which I kind of love because there's still like this steady stream, like 14, 15 fantasy points coming in. I think there's a world where his defense is just necessary against OKC. And if Michael Porter Jr. isn't right, if Russell Westbrook has things fall apart, I'm getting to the cheapest piece that I think is actually playable on this slate, barring blowout. Peyton Watson, 3,100. I currently have 31% of your nuke of the night.
Oh boy, what direction do I want to go? Well, somebody I'm overweight to that I brought up a couple of times already, and I really do want to say Hartenstein. I can't do it for the 3rd consecutive time. It's worth the first, but
there's no rules.
People still don't want to play Hartenstein and Mass. He's only 25% owned. Everything I've said the last couple of times these teams played against each other, the same thing holds true. I just don't think there's anybody on OKC who's better equipped to guard Jokic than Hartenstein. So I think he's going to be playing, barring foul trouble, as many minutes as he could handle guarding Jokic. So I'm overweight to him. I like him a lot as a tournament option, but also Alex Caruso. I just don't see anything meaningful that changed from game 1 to game 2 to game 3, where he played really well in game 1. People wanted to play him in game 2. He played poorly in game. Well, also just didn't really get minutes in game 2. So now people are much lighter on him in game 3. And I think that this is a scenario where Alex Caruso, he's not going to do the same thing he did in game 1, but I think it's probably going to be somewhere in between game 1 and game 2. And then I think people are going to, I could see people tilting and being regretful that Alex Caruso, like, oh, I played Alex Caruso last game. He didn't do well. And now all of a sudden he is playing better. Yeah, because Alex Caruso is a good player. He's a decent fantasy producer. And it's the playoffs. And I think OKC acquired him for the playoffs so that he could play extended minutes at this point in the season. So Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, those are my 2 favorite tournament options relative to their ownership. Low 20% ownership for Alex Caruso, mid 20% ownership to Hartenstein. I'm overweight to each of those guys from OKC. Once again, guys, we haven't done it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. And one more time, I want to let you guys know that if you sign up for our MMA Core Max package, for the weekly package, you get access to UFC 315, big card tomorrow, 2 title fights, just $1 with the promo code 315. So sign up using the link down below in the YouTube description box and head to our sign up page, or just head on over to stokastic.com/join. Select the UFC weekly MMA max package and just $1, enter that promo code 315 to get yourself access. And one of my favorite sports to watch and play DFS for, well, favorite one to watch pending it's a big event and not one of like the terrible, fight night cards where it's like Sergey Spivak headlining against Marcin Tybur or something like that. In general, one of my favorite sports to be watching.
I never asked you, did you end up shorting your guy Bo Nickel? Because I remember we had talked a couple months ago and you're like, I can't wait to short Bo Nickel in a fight. Did you end up shorting him in this last one in Des Moines?
No, not really. Like,
okay.
I was underweight to the field, but not like he wasn't all that. He was like 29% owned, I think.
Gotcha. I was just curious because we had that conversation a long time ago and it was always in the back of my head. I didn't do anything about it either, but I'm very excited for tomorrow's card. So 315 Montreal. I mean, there are some bangers on tomorrow's card, which I'm excited about. I'm pretty excited actually to see Shevchenko and Grasso go up against Silva. Like, I'm actually excited about the women's MMA fights as well. Like, it's going to be a really fun card.
Yeah. I think from a watchability standpoint, Furo and Shevchenko, it's probably going to be like a pretty low output striking affair on the feet. So I don't think it'll be like great from an that particular fight. Like, I'm interested to watch it. I don't think it's going to be like wildly entertaining for the common fans, but I'm very excited for the card overall as a whole. And Bilal, underrated. Like, I like watching Bilal's fights. He's active, a lot of pace, but whatever. Only got 8 minutes left to go here. DC24 says, Eric, can you compare your nuke to Wiggins?
So compare my nuke to Wiggins. So Peyton Watson's 3,100. And the thing is for Wiggins, he's pulling like 17, 18% ownership purely because he got a stint that was very comfortable. And I think this was kind of DK DFS's thinking on this. I don't want to speak entirely for him, but obviously I see his Discord and I always pop in there from time to time to get a couple of plays for myself or get, the wheels spinning before DFS shows as well. Cause I think he's one of the sharper guys that you could follow in Tails, which you can sign up for over at OddsShopper as well. But Aaron Wiggins, yeah, whatever. Aaron Wiggins ends up walking into a really comfortable first half rotation where they're up by infinity. And you know what they ask Aaron Wiggins to do in those spots? Just smash, like go out and smash. And I thought he was a really good DFS play then. I don't feel that way in a game where he's 3,100 coming off of a smash and now everybody's kind of flooding in that direction. I think he'll still get a first quarter rotation. I mean, he played 14 in a 2-point game in game 1, didn't smash by any means there, but the whole point of playing Aaron Wiggins there in that next one is that he was like guaranteed that second half rotation in the event that they had a blowout and it was just a blowout game script. So I think Aaron Wiggins a little bit more popular than what I would want. Whereas Peyton Watson is like almost half of the ownership at this point. And it wouldn't shock me if we got to the flip and saw 20% Wiggins just because of box score watching. And Peyton Watson, I think, is the more like secure minutes because they don't have a bench if they don't play Watson. Like I know Russell Westbrook, Michael Porter Jr. a little bit interchangeable as far as like that closing lineup, but like they tried to make Strother a thing. Strother's not going to be a thing in this series. Who is? I still think Peyton Watson has enough utility on the defensive end of the floor that he can walk into some upside. And again, for me, it's just looking at it relative to the Wiggins ownership, and I don't agree with it.
Exotic play of the night right there. Exotic play of the night.
Oh my
M.
goodness.
Grizzly, my top Cavs exposure is Hunter at 10%. Do I think that's low? Mitchell, 5%. Mobley, 3%. I don't have very much exposure to Cleveland. I don't have an issue with you not having a ton of Cleveland. No, Eric's taking some shots on them, which, I don't think it's crazy considering these are, marquee players and it's only a 2-game slate. But no, I don't think you have to play a bunch of Cavs guys. Would you agree with that, Eric?
Agreed. Don't have to play a ton.
Yeah, definitely don't have to. Definitely don't have to. Stinky Thumbs Arbuckle says, how much Caruso is too much Caruso? I have him in half my lineups.
Agreed. Caruso's 44% for me. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, and he is projected for 22% ownership.
Yep.
Alex Caruso, 23% ownership. So relative to a 2-game slate, like he's fairly modestly owned. And all right, no more questions in Discord. By the way, guys, over in playback after this, guess what? I'm going to be here with our friend Emac. Emac is joining me because Josh is away for his anniversary. So with Josh away, I was going to do playback potentially by myself, but Emac wanted to jump on with me. So I was like, cool, let's do it. I'll hang out with old pal Emac.
Hello, gamers.
Yeah.
Let it rip a little.
Be hanging out with Emac. And also, if you guys do sign up for a playback Stokastic sub and you shoot me a DM on Twitter or you email support, we'll hit you up with a promo code for 50% off any monthly package of your choosing. So go ahead and sign up for one of those. You get to watch the games with us in playback, and then also get yourself a promotional code for 50% off. So get lots of value out of that. Let's go through some of our most rostered players at each position for our final exposures here, Eric. I want to know from you at point guard. Who is the point guard you overall are getting to the most tonight?
I've got everything. Russell Westbrook, 66%. The Devil's Tool.
Jamal Murray for me. Shooting guard?
I'm going position by position over on the DK. Alex Caruso.
That is Alex Caruso for myself as well at shooting guard. I mean, it would be Jamal Murray, but I already said him at point guard.
Yeah, Jamal Murray as well. They're like 2% away from each other. 44%, 46%.
Small forward, Eric?
Benedict Mathurin.
Christian Brown for me. Power forward?
Power forward. Jalen Williams, Payne Watson, both 34%.
Aaron Gordon for me. This is a Denver heavy episode.
There you go. And Jokic by a mile, 82%, my highest owned player.
Jokic for me as well at center, my overall favorite pay-up option on the slate. Are there any guys you are not getting very much exposure to that scare you for any reason?
All right, that's kind of what I was just trimming through over in the Sims tool, kind of like finishing everything out. I have 0% Jared Allen in 150 lineups. I think he's a truly abysmal play at 6,800. Donovan Mitchell ended up with just next to none. Ty Jerome, I have 0%. Tyrese Halliburton, I have 2%. I have some massive stands. Max Strus, I have 7% of at 20%. Lou Dort, I have 9% of. He's 21%. I mean, I just list off like 5. I have some massive stands. Half the field on DeAndre Hunter as well. I mean, if it is not consolidated towards some of those guys I already talked about, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble today.
My Maple Leafs running through the Florida Panthers right now. I'm very excited.
Your Maple Leafs. Greg, you don't even have a team. You don't even have one team in your entire life. You don't have a team you cheer for more than others, other than maybe the Los Angeles Lakers next year.
No, it's just whoever I have bets on at the given moment. So that's right. I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs and Winnipeg Jets fan right now. So that's those are my allegiances. But no, if the Knicks were to win the championship, I went to games with my dad as a kid. My dad had Knicks season tickets. He grew up a Knicks fan. Like, I'd probably go to the parade with him. That would be fun. That'd be cool to see. That'd be cool to see. Any final thoughts on the slate before we head into lock and I join Emac over on playback?
No, I just want to let it be known that you're going to trade off one Eric for a better Eric. So that'll be exciting for you. Got to feel good. Looking at the MLB slate, all the MLB games are live here for tonight. So just going to be sweating some of that out. Going to be back in the Discord. Going to work through some bets. Not a whole lot else to add. Hit the like button on the way out. Head over to playback.tv/Stokastic. Use promo code 315. Get 7 days of Portfolio EV free. I mean, what a time to be alive. So many bets, so many games, so many sports. It's going to be a good time. And obviously, do you have a pick for both of these games tonight?
I'll go Cleveland and OKC.
Yeah, I'm going to go chalk too. I'm with you. Cleveland, OKC, get it done. Let's make these series again. But I suppose OKC, this would be bad for the series, is having them obliterate Denver, but we'll see.
All right, guys. If you didn't do it, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take advantage of that UFC promo code that is going to be expiring tonight. So if you don't take advantage of it now, it's going to go away. So one more final reminder, promo code, it is 315 because it's UFC 315, just $1 for a weekly Sims Max package. So take advantage of that. And other than that, guys, I dropped the link to Playback over in the YouTube chat. See you over in Playback, myself and Emac. For everybody else, have a good weekend. Peace.